What is up, YouTube? Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 249. The break is finally over, and we got the fight that we've been waiting for. Man, this chapter is dope as heck. But to be honest, I am kind of surprised that we are still on the Sukuna fight. I honestly thought they was going to switch it to Hikari. But how this chapter begins is with a flashback to when Yuta chopped Kenjaku's head off. As soon as Yuta chopped Kenjaku's head, the cursed spirits went out of control. This is something that we saw back in chapter 73 when Toji stated that he was going to let Suguru live because he did not know what the cursed spirits would do after Geto's death. Yuta asked Rika to deal with the rampaging cursed spirits. While Rika was dealing with the cursed spirits, Kenjaku was still alive, and his severed head was flying around, which I think is completely insane that a flying head was flying around. But he asked Kogane to add the rule that Megumi Fushiguro should now have the authority to activate the merger between humans and Tengen. Kenjaku then tells Yuta that he already created the backup plan and also finished the ritual of inheritance with Sukuna. The chapter then shows Tengen in the form of an embryo. Kenjaku sends it towards Sukuna while Yuta pierces Kenjaku's head. In his final words, Kenjaku said that he was glad that the last person he played with was Tagaba. However, he could not get 1,000 years worth of fun from him. I think that Kenjaku being dead is odd because there are some plot points that needed conclusion. For example, Kenjaku being Yuji's mother is one example. Another example would be how Kenjaku taught Sukuna how to split his soul into 20 fingers. That is another plot point that needs a conclusion. I mean, it's a lot of plot threads with Kenjaku, which is crazy. But he ends it with, now it's your turn. That's when the chapter jumps back to the present, where Yuta notices that Sukuna's reverse curse technique output is returning to normal. Yuta also understands that his ability to use domain expansion might also return soon. So y'all do know what that means. If his domain expansion returns, also that returns is his reality warping dismantle. I still think it should be called cleave, but they call it dismantle. But that's going to come back. So Yuta has to do enough damage so that the domain expansion won't get rid of half of his teammates, which is why he blames himself for this. As he eliminated, he should have joined the Sukuna raid team instead of going after Kenjaku. But he convinced himself that it was necessary for him to kill Kenjaku. Otherwise, the cursed spirits would have been released, and it would have been the same situation as it was in Shibuya. And Rika's presence was necessary to save the civilians and stop the curses from going wild. Yuta swings his sword at Sukuna, but he grabs it effortlessly. He notices that Sukuna has grabbed his sword without actually touching it. He has activated his curse technique by wielding small slashes like a chainsaw, which is pretty sweet that Sukuna is able to use his slashes like a chainsaw. That's pretty dope. That way he doesn't have to touch Yuta's katana. But Yuta, being the genius that he is, lets go of his katana and punches Sukuna in his other mouth or his stomach. And he and Rika then begin their dual attack on Sukuna. Yuta, again, because of the weight of being one of the strongest, blames himself again for the situation that they're in. And because he wanted to finish Kenjaku on his own, this led to Higuruma sacrificing himself in order to stop Sukuna. And this is the moment that we have been waiting for. I'm so hyped for this. Yuta opens his domain expansion. And the interesting thing about it is called True and Mutual Love, but also in one translation, the other one is called Unequivocal Love, and the other translations. So I thought that was a little bit of an interesting thing that they kind of have two different translations to it. But this domain is so powerful that it forces Sukuna to use the hollow wicker basket to counter. And hollow wicker basket, just for some of y'all who don't remember what that is or don't know, hollow wicker basket it predates simple domain, but its function is somewhat similar where it blocks domain expansion sure hit. And the thing about Yuta's domain expansion is that he has a bunch of swords that come swords, and that's kind of how Yuta's domain expansion is. And what Yuta assures himself is that he will kill Sukuna within his domain, and it's so powerful that it actually hurt Sukuna's face. But Sukuna, being, like I said, the genius, and he's looking through Megumi's memories, realizes what their plan is. And that's when he ends up calling Yuta the one with the spirit possession, and learned that his curse technique is copy. And Sukuna realizes Yuta's plan is to keep using the sure hit as a countermeasure while sealing half of his arms and mouth by making him use the hollow wicker basket, able to hit Sukuna to separate Megumi from Sukuna. And Sukuna then mocks Yuji, saying, "Good for you, finally got yourself a role." And this is how the chapter ends. Now, we all know how this is going to end. Sukuna is not about to be defeated by this domain expansion, even though I'm hyped to see it. We know that this is not going to work, and they're going to find some different way to beat Sukuna. But I could be wrong, because Gege got rid of Kenjaku, which is a surprise, but I don't fully think Kenjaku is dead. But let me know in the comments below if you think Kenjaku is dead. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace out, y'all.